let's discuss the monthly $2,000 stimulus check, which is just a proposal in the upcoming stimulus package. A lot of people have been leaving comments asking me to cover this topic area and to see how probable that this would be in the upcoming stimulus package. If you haven't read, this is a proposal to give everyone 16 years of age or older making under $130,000 a $2,000 stimulus check for the next 6 to 12 months. If you didn't know, the first stimulus check cost $300 billion. Just to give you some context, the stimulus package cost $2.2 trillion, and the U.S. debt is $24 trillion. Going back, those variables and those figures are important. Going back, the $1,200 stimulus check cost $300 billion. If you're going to up the quantity, the dollar value of the payout from $1,200 to $2,000, the price tag jumps from $300 billion to $500 billion. That's due to a greater payout. Not only is it just an increase in value of the amount being given from $1,200 to $2,000, but now you're including more people in the pool of recipients because this proposal is giving the stimulus check to everyone making under $130,000. The first stimulus check was everyone making under $75,000. So you have a greater pool of recipients. And also, this is for everyone age 16 and older because in the first stimulus check, you had a lot of those dependents in that age range getting only the $500 going to the person claiming that person as a dependent rather than getting the full stimulus check amount. So there's a greater pool of recipients in this proposed stimulus check. If that's the case, the price tag of this stimulus check for $2,000 goes from $500 billion to $700 billion. That's for one round of payment. $700 billion. If you're going to multiply that by the 6 months, that's $4.2 trillion. We're just talking 6 months. I'm not going to even think about 12 months. $4.2 trillion for 6 months. Again, giving you some context, $2.2 trillion was the last stimulus package, and the U.S. debt is $24 trillion. If you're just going to have just the stimulus checks for 6 months at that rate, $4.2 trillion, but how likely is that? If you're going to have the stimulus checks, everyone, Republicans, Democrats, they're going to be adding on, they're going to be sneaking in $100 billion here, $500 billion there, $1 trillion there. This stimulus package would just balloon out of proportion. So, in my opinion, what they would do is they would just do it by a month-by-month basis. I don't think that they would jump the gun and just say, let's approve it for 6 months. I mean, maximum, I would say, is 3 months. Maybe let's do 2 months. The most probable approach would be just one single round of a stimulus check payment. Just like, think about it. Just like they're doing with the lockdowns. They're just doing, let's assess the situation. Let's extend the lockdown for 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, let's assess the situation. Let's extend it for 2 weeks. They're not going to just jump the gun and say, we're locking down for 2 months. I feel like it would be the same situation with the stimulus check. It's a wait and see approach, seeing if it's necessary or unnecessary, and seeing when to stop the stimulus checks. That's just my opinion because, as you can see, if it was 6 months of payment at that rate, it would cost $4.2 trillion, and that would just be for the stimulus checks. That wouldn't include the additional assistance. Everybody needs help, even from the local governments to the hospitals to all the food assistance programs, small businesses as well. You know, one good example is the additional funding for the PPP loan program. The PPP loan program ran out of money. Congress was trying to add $250 billion more to the program, and then they decided to tack on more for the hospitals, more for the food assistance programs, and now that $250 billion for the small business, that bill has now ballooned to $500 billion. That's just an example. that if it was a price tag of 4.2 trillion for the stimulus checks, then that would balloon to who knows what amounts. Therefore, in my opinion, it's unlikely that they would just approve this for 6 months. That's just way too much. That's improbable. This is just my opinion. But I want to go back to what a lot of the commentators are saying. A lot of people in my comment section, they're saying, "Oh, this sounds great, but you know what? I haven't received my first stimulus check." Is that too much to ask for just to even get my first stimulus check before even talking about a second round of stimulus checks? Is that too much to ask for? And I say, actually, that is a lot to ask for. You know why? It's because the government's computer systems are older than 50 years. They're 50 years old. You can fact check me on that one. It's just an outdated system. It's for that reason. It's just a disaster. The whole distribution of this, the whole entire process has been a disaster. The IRS is upgrading their system. They entered a 6-year contract to upgrade and modernize their system, which began last year. But until then, we're running on a system that's about 55 years old. It's ridiculous. Therefore, all the disasters. They're even proposing additional delivery methods for the stimulus check by Zelle, by PayPal, by Venmo. Hannah C. mentioned in the last video, which I pinned, can you imagine getting Venmo'd to you from the government? LOL. And yes, I agree, LOL. Just reflecting, New Year's Eve going into New Year's Day, I remember that vividly, and I would have never, ever expected for us to be in this situation entering this new decade. But here we are. It's just, it's like, what the hell is going on? But this is the new norm. This is the new reality that we live in. But let's see what happens. But I'm saying that I think it would be administered on a month-by-month basis for the stimulus check. I don't think they're going to go all out with the 6 to 12 months. That's just my opinion. I'll keep you up to date of the new developments. Thanks for tuning in. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, take care.